Welcome to the Network Plus Prepcast, your dedicated audio companion for mastering every objective on the CompTIA Network Plus certification exam. This series is produced by baremetalcyber.com. Welcome to this glossary edition of the A Plus Prepcast. In this final glossary installment, we'll examine key acronyms that begin with the letters O through Z. These acronyms span a wide range of critical networking topics, including models, protocols, encryption, virtualization, and system architecture. By mastering these final terms, you will round out your glossary knowledge and enhance your readiness for the Network Plus certification exam. Let's begin with one of the most foundational acronyms in networking. OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection, a conceptual model developed by the International Organization for Standardization to describe how different networking protocols and systems interact. The OSI model consists of 7 layers: physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, and application. Each layer performs specific functions and communicates with the layers directly above and below it. While not all real-world protocols map cleanly to the OSI model, it serves as a valuable reference for troubleshooting and protocol categorization. On the Network Plus exam, familiarity with the OSI model is essential for identifying protocol roles and diagnosing communication issues across layers. OTDR refers to Optical Time Domain Reflectometer, a diagnostic tool used to analyze the integrity and performance of fiber optic cables. It works by sending pulses of light down the fiber and measuring the reflected signals to identify faults, splices, or breaks. OTDR readings help technicians determine the distance to a problem and evaluate signal loss along the cable path. This tool is critical in fiber optic installations and maintenance. On the exam, OTDR may appear in scenarios involving fiber diagnostics or physical layer troubleshooting. OT stands for Operational Technology, a term used to describe hardware and software that detects or controls physical devices and processes. OT systems are commonly found in industrial environments such as manufacturing, utilities, and energy production. These systems are increasingly connected to IT networks, which introduces security concerns due to traditionally lax protections in OT environments. As a result, there is growing emphasis on segmenting OT networks and applying cybersecurity controls. On the exam, OT may be referenced when discussing non-traditional networking environments or industrial control systems. PaaS means Platform as a Service, a cloud computing model that provides developers with tools and infrastructure to build, test, and deploy applications. Unlike infrastructure as a service where users manage their own operating systems, PaaS abstracts away the underlying infrastructure, offering runtime environments, databases, and application frameworks. This enables faster development and reduces overhead for managing hardware or system updates. PaaS is commonly used for web and mobile application development. On the exam, knowing the differences between PaaS, IaaS, and software as a service is essential for cloud service model identification. PAT stands for Port Address Translation, a form of network address translation that allows multiple devices on a private network to share a single public IP address. Each internal device is assigned a unique port number, enabling the router or firewall to keep track of incoming and outgoing sessions. This method conserves IP addresses and supports many-to-one communication. PAT is commonly used in home networks and small businesses to connect multiple devices to the internet. On the exam, PAT is often compared with static and dynamic NAT to test your understanding of address mapping. PCI means Payment Card Industry, most often referenced in the context of PCI-DSS, or the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. This standard outlines security requirements for organizations that store, process, or transmit credit card information. PCI compliance includes practices such as encrypting cardholder data, implementing access controls, and maintaining secure networks. Failure to meet these requirements can lead to financial penalties and data breaches. On the Network Plus exam, PCI may appear in questions involving compliance, regulation, and data protection. PCIe stands for Peripheral Component Interconnect Express, a high-speed expansion bus standard used to connect internal components such as network cards, graphics cards, and solid-state drives to the motherboard. PCIe offers greater bandwidth and performance than older bus technologies like PCI or HP. It uses lanes 1x1, x4, x8, or x16 to support scalable throughput. Network interface cards installed via PCIe slots are common in high-performance environments. On the exam, PCIe may be tested in questions about hardware, expansion options, or interface speeds. PEAP means Protected Extensible Authentication Protocol, an authentication method that encapsulates EAP in a secure transport layer security tunnel. It is often used in enterprise wireless networks that require mutual authentication between clients and servers. PEAP helps protect credentials from interception during the authentication process by creating an encrypted channel before user credentials are transmitted. It is commonly used in conjunction with MSCHAP version 2 and a Radius server. On the exam, PEAP may appear in scenarios involving wireless authentication and secure protocol comparison. PGP refers to Pretty Good Privacy, an encryption program that provides cryptographic privacy and authentication for data communication. It uses a combination of symmetric and asymmetric encryption to secure emails, files, and digital signatures. PGP allows users to encrypt messages using a recipient's public key, which only the matching private key can decrypt. It also supports signing messages to verify authenticity and prevent tampering. On the Network Plus exam, PGP is often associated with email encryption and secure communication tools. PKI stands for Public Key Infrastructure, a system for managing digital certificates and public key encryption. It enables secure exchange of information by using a pair of cryptographic keys, one public and one private. PKI involves components such as certificate authorities, registration authorities, and certificate revocation lists. These elements work together to authenticate users and devices in secure communications. On the exam, PKI is a critical concept for understanding encryption, authentication, and secure certificate management. POP3 stands for Post Office Protocol version 3, an older but still used protocol that allows email clients to retrieve messages from a remote mail server. POP3 downloads the emails to the client and typically removes them from the server after retrieval, which means emails are not synced across multiple devices. It operates over port 109 using plain text and over port 995 when secured with SSL or TLS. While simple and lightweight, POP3 lacks the advanced synchronization and folder support found in newer protocols like IMAP. On the exam, you may be asked to distinguish between POP3 and IMAP in terms of behavior, use case, and ports. PSK means pre-shared key, a method of securing wireless networks where all devices use the same key or password to authenticate. It is commonly used in smaller networks such as home or small office Wi-Fi setups where centralized authentication servers are not present. PSK-based security is simple to configure but less secure for larger environments due to the risk of key sharing and reuse. It is typically implemented using Wi-Fi Protected Access, or WPA, in PSK mode. On the exam, understanding how PSK fits into wireless encryption options is important when evaluating authentication methods. QoS stands for Quality of Service, a set of techniques used to manage network resources by prioritizing certain types of traffic. QoS ensures that high-priority services like voice over IP or video streaming maintain low latency and reliable throughput even under congestion. Methods include traffic shaping, queuing, and marking packets with priority levels using mechanisms like DSCP or 802.1p. QoS is essential in networks that carry a mix of time-sensitive and best-effort traffic. On the Network Plus exam, QoS may appear in questions about performance management and traffic control. RADIUS refers to Remote Authentication Dial-In User Service, a centralized protocol used for user authentication, authorization, and accounting. RADIUS servers validate credentials submitted by network clients, such as users connecting to Wi-Fi or VPN services. It typically uses port 1812 for authentication and 1813 for accounting. RADIUS supports centralized credential storage and policy enforcement across multiple network devices. On the exam, RADIUS is often compared with other authentication protocols like TAC/ACS+, especially in enterprise access control scenarios. RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disks, a data storage technology that combines multiple physical drives into one logical unit for performance, redundancy, or both. There are several RAID levels, each offering different trade-offs. For example, RAID 0 stripes data for speed but offers no fault tolerance, while RAID 1 mirrors data for redundancy. RAID 5 and RAID 10 are more advanced configurations that balance performance and fault tolerance. On the exam, understanding RAID levels helps in identifying appropriate storage solutions based on performance and data protection requirements. RF stands for radio frequency, which refers to electromagnetic waves used for wireless communication. These frequencies range from about 3 kHz to 300 GHz and are used in technology such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular communication, and radio broadcasting. In networking, RF is critical for wireless signal propagation and plays a role in determining antenna types, signal strength, and interference patterns. Understanding RF principles helps in planning access point placement and diagnosing wireless performance issues. On the exam, RF may appear in questions involving wireless transmission characteristics and spectrum usage. RFID means radio frequency identification, a technology that uses electromagnetic fields to identify and track tags attached to objects. RFID systems consist of readers and passive or active tags that store identification data. In networking contexts, RFID is often used in inventory tracking, access control systems, and asset management. It is important to recognize that RFID operates at various frequency ranges and may be susceptible to interference. On the Network Plus exam, RFID may be referenced in scenarios involving wireless technologies, security, or device identification. RJ-45 refers to registered Jack45, a standardized physical connector used primarily for Ethernet networking over twisted pair cabling. It resembles a larger version of the older telephone RJ-11 connector and supports up to 8 conductors. RJ-45 connectors are used with cables such as Cat5e, Cat6, and Cat6a for connecting computers, switches, and other network devices. The connector snaps securely into Ethernet ports, ensuring reliable data transmission. On the exam, you may be expected to identify RJ-45 and match it with its associated cabling types. RSA stands for Reverse Shamir-Adelman, a widely used public key cryptographic algorithm that provides secure data encryption and digital signatures. RSA relies on the mathematical difficulty of factoring large prime numbers, making it suitable for secure communication and key exchange. It uses a pair of keys, a public key for encryption and a private key for decryption, to ensure confidentiality and authentication. RSA is foundational to many secure protocols, including SSL and TLS. On the exam, RSA is relevant in encryption topics, certificate-based security, and secure authentication. SaaS means Software as a Service, a cloud computing model in which users access software applications over the internet. The software is hosted and maintained by a service provider, and users interact with it through web browsers or dedicated client applications. SaaS eliminates the need for local installation, management, and updates, making it a popular choice for productivity tools, email platforms, and collaboration systems. Examples include Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. On the exam, SaaS is one of the key cloud models and is often contrasted with PaaS and IaaS. SAN refers to Storage Area Network, a dedicated high-speed network that provides block-level access to storage devices. Unlike network-attached storage, which operates at the file level, SAN enables multiple servers to access the same storage at the disk level, offering low latency and high performance. SANs are commonly used in enterprise data centers to support virtualization, databases, and transaction-heavy applications. Technologies such as Fibre Channel and ISCSI are used to implement SANs, On the exam, understanding the distinction between SAN and NAS is critical in storage architecture questions. SDN stands for Software-Defined Networking, a modern approach to networking that separates the control plane from the data plane. This allows network administrators to manage network behavior programmatically through centralized controllers rather than configuring each device manually. SDN enables automation, dynamic provisioning, and more efficient use of network resources. It is especially useful in data centers and large-scale cloud environments. On the exam, SDN is often referenced in questions involving virtualization, network automation, and control mechanisms. SFP means small form factor pluggable, a compact, hot swappable transceiver used to connect networking equipment to fiber optic or copper cabling. SFP modules are commonly used in switches and routers to support different types of media and transmission speeds. They come in various formats, such as SFP Plus for 10 gigabit speeds and SFP 28 for 25 gigabit links. The modularity of SFP allows flexible port configurations based on need. On the exam, SFP is relevant in hardware identification, interface compatibility, and fiber optic configurations. SID stands for Security Identifier, a unique value used to identify users, groups, and computer accounts in Windows-based networks. Each object is assigned ASID when created, and it remains consistent even if the object name changes. SIDs are essential for enforcing access control and maintaining permissions across resources. In domain environments, SIDs help maintain consistency and avoid conflicts during migrations or backups. On the exam, SID may be mentioned in access control lists, file permissions, and account management topics. SMB stands for Server Message Block, a protocol used primarily by Windows systems to provide shared access to files, printers, and serial ports over a network. SMB operates at the application layer and allows users to read, write, and manage resources on remote systems. It is often paired with NTLM or Kerberos for authentication. Modern versions of SMB include enhancements such as encryption and improved performance. On the exam, SMB is often included in questions about protocol use, ports, and file sharing services. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Plus Prepcast, your trusted audio guide to the CompTIA Network Plus certification. This episode was produced by baremetalcyber.com. For more cybersecurity podcasts, books, and resources, visit baremetalcyber.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cybersecurity Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.